My name is Cammie, and I'm here to demonstrate to you how to make fudge in 5 minutes. The reason I have chosen this topic is because it's the fall season, and fudge is a very simple way to make a dessert that you can share with your family and your friends. So, we need to discuss first our ingredients, what is needed. We need 2 tablespoons of butter, 2/3 cup evaporated milk. We're going to need a half a teaspoon of salt. We're going to also need 2 cups of miniature marshmallows, 1.5 cups of semi-sweet chocolate chips, and 1 tablespoon of vanilla, along with a half a teaspoon of either walnuts or pecans, but these are optional. I'm choosing to leave these out because these are for my children. They don't prefer the nuts in their in their fudge. So let's collect all of our ingredients that we need, and then we'll start. You will need a 12-quart saucepan like I have right here, and you can go ahead and turn your stove on to medium-high. If it's numbers 1 through 9, I would put it on about a 6, maybe more like medium-low. And first of all, we're going to start by pouring in our ingredients. So let's see. The first ingredient we need 2 tablespoons of butter, and you can use any kind of butter you want. 1, and there's 2. You want to make sure you get all of it out so that your measurements are correct. So there's our 2 tablespoons of butter, and our next ingredient is 2/3 cup evaporated milk. I've already opened the milk to save us a little time, so we're going to add 2/3 cup evaporated milk into the saucepan with the butter. Then we're going to add 1 2/3 cup sugar, which I already have measured out over here for us. So we're going to go ahead and sprinkle that in. If you have a small wire whisk, this would be the best way to stir up the consistency. I'm going to use this little wire whisk right here that I have. And when you start mixing your liquids with your dries, go ahead and start stirring that together over the heat so that the butter can start to melt. Okay, after the evaporated milk and the sugar comes a half a teaspoon of salt. I just pretty much eyeball this, so just sprinkle in a little salt. Or if you're dealing with somebody that's diabetic, you can leave the salt out. So there's our salt. Then we're going to bring this to a boil. And we have to cook this for about 4 to 5 minutes. So I'm going to turn up the heat to medium-high now instead of medium-low now that I'm able to focus on it 100%. Once it starts to boil, you want to make sure that you are stirring constantly. See if we can speed up the boiling process. Meanwhile, while we're waiting on that to boil, you will need an 8 or 9-inch squared or rectangular buttered glass dish. I have one right here that I'm going to use. It's just a Pyrex 8-inch square dish. So I'm going to spray a little nonstick spray on it so that the fudge doesn't stick. We'll have that waiting and ready as soon as our mixture is ready to remove from the heat. And I can hear it starting to heat up. So now we're going to start stirring constantly. I'm going to turn on a timer of 4 minutes, and we're going to start that timer so that we don't overcook. Now remember, we've only combined butter, eggs, sugar, and salt, and milk at this point. Okay, it's starting to bubble, so it is boiling. Make sure you stir it because it's going to start getting thick and it'll stick to the bottom of your pan if you don't. We have about 3 minutes left for our time. And you can go ahead and prepare some of your other ingredients that are going to need to be added by measuring them off. Just make sure to watch your mixture and that it doesn't boil too much. Okay, in our dry mixture, I said we were going to use 1½ cups of semi-sweet chocolate chips. So we can go ahead and measure 1 1/4. Whoa. And keep stirring. And like I said, we are just measuring off some of our other dry ingredients that we're going to need. So we'll measure it off to 1½ ingredients, 1½ cups of semi-sweet chocolate chips, and our milk, sugar, salt, and butter is cooking very well over here. We got about 1½ minutes left, and we can remove this from the heat. Turn it down just a little bit so it doesn't burn it. Once it boils for 2 or 3 minutes, you can typically turn it down to a medium, low, medium, high, and it will still continue to boil. So I just turned that down for that reason. And stirring consistently, getting a nice golden yellow kind of color, thickening texture to the liquid. Now, as soon as this is done boiling, we're going to set it aside onto the cooler burner. Don't leave it on a hot burner. We got 35 seconds, and then we can remove it. Smells really good. It'll smell even better once we put the vanilla in there. Okay, and we're down to, looks like 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1. And there's our beeper. We're going to turn the timer off, turn the burner off, and go ahead and remove the saucepan to the cooler side. Now, when we remove it from the heat, we're going to stir in the chocolate chips, the vanilla, and the marshmallows. So, since I've already measured off the chocolate chips, we're going to start with the chocolate chips. I'm going to stir them in. Stirring consistently. They're going to start to melt. It's going to get thick. Okay. Now using the same dry measurement cup that we just used for our chocolate chips, we're going to use for our marshmallows as well. And Remember I said we need 2 cups of miniature marshmallows. So we'll just fill this right up. That's usually the full container of a regular measuring cup, 2 cups. So I'm going to stir those in next. And it's getting nice and thick. Starting to smell more like fudge. Next, we're going to need to measure off our vanilla. Let's see, I believe it was 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Let me get my measuring spoon. And let's see, 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Okay. Once we've added the vanilla, we mainly just want to stir until everything is melted. So, might slide it over and get just a little more heat from the burner that was on. Smells really good. So we're going to stir. It takes about a minute to 2 minutes to get all this to melt. You want to make sure that you mix the mellow and the chocolate really good. Everything must be blended and smooth. So everything needs to be melted. Oh yeah, it's starting to get nice and creamy. It's getting a good consistency. Looks like we're almost ready to put into our pan. If you can see it, it's a nice chocolate liquid consistency. And that's how you want it. Once we've reached that point, we want to make sure we have our dish, our 8 or 9 inch squared or rectangular glass dish that has been either sprayed with nonstick spray or buttered. And we're basically just going to take the pan of chocolate and all of our other ingredients that have melted together, and we're going to pour it into the glass dish. Like so. Now the reason I've chose to demonstrate to you how to make 5-minute fudge is because, like I said before, the holidays are coming up. It is quick, it is simple, it's something that kids can help you do. They have fun doing it. But it also makes a nice gift for teachers, coaches, co-workers. It's inexpensive for Christmas if you put them in a little tin and put a little bow on top and give them some fudge for Christmas. Everybody loves sweets, so it makes a nice gift. Now once we have put our chocolate into our dish, we're going to put it in the refrigerator, and you have to let it chill probably 2 hours, 2 to 4 hours, till it's completely cold and hardened. And then you'll take it out and cut it into squares, and you'll serve it.